But what are the institutional investors telling you? Because on the one hand, it's of course stamp duty is an interesting point, but there's also transparency and the ability to trade anonymously, for example. What are the institutional investors telling you in terms of what they like to see happening, so that they can form a community of participants of their own as they like in that?
We haven't been approached by a lot of big brokers in Hong Kong that they do want to operate a dark pool, right? Obviously, it's entirely up to them.
It's the dark pool operators themselves.
Yeah, it's the dark pool themselves, because there are no rules that say that the exchange should object the operation of dark pools in Hong Kong, right? They can apply to the Security and Futures Commission.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I believe there are over a dozen dark pools operating in Hong Kong.
Right.
But whether they would be able to attract business is entirely up to them, right? I do not believe the stock exchange can object the fact that dark pool can operate in Hong Kong.
Do you at all worry that Hong Kong is becoming way too dependent on China?
I do not believe that the supply of Chinese issuers or potential Chinese issuers will dry up. As a matter of fact, I believe the focus of the exchange in Hong Kong should continue on Chinese companies. Right? Surely you will say that, well, would the Chinese issuers one day be dry up and you won't see a lot of those companies seeking listing in Hong Kong?
Right.
I beg to differ, because I believe if you look at all the countries around the world, only China has so many companies that are qualified to seek a listing anywhere, whether domestically in Hong Kong or elsewhere.
What is your perspective in dealing with governance issues of Chinese companies listing?
I think there are two major aspects. The first one, Hong Kong has been doing business with mainland China for several decades. The people in Hong Kong, particularly business people, understand China very well. We share the same culture, the same history. We speak the same language. And after 1997, we are part of mainland China, right? So this put us very different.
So are you saying that it's not a problem? That
it's not because this helped us to get the business, to understand China.
Okay.
And this put us different from other countries.
Okay.
Right? And we are closer to China. Right? The second issue is over the past possibly 2 decades, I believe the exchange in Hong Kong has continued to tighten its listing rules, to improve its corporate governance, to improve the quality of market. Contrary to a lot of hearsay saying that Hong Kong has lowered standard to attract listing of Chinese companies or overseas companies, that is not true.
Well, give me some examples.
For example, if you look at the connected party transactions, we are the toughest in the world, right? In terms of disclosure, I think we are on the international standards. In terms of disclosure, information dissemination, we are actually on a par with many of the global exchanges. I won't name the other exchanges, right? If you look at the vetting of IPO applications, a number of exchanges that have adopted an approach that there's no need for the exchange nor the security regulator to examine the listing. It's all under the support of the sponsors, right? In Hong Kong, we have been under pressure to lower the standard, but we didn't, right? That's why in the boom market, during the period from 2004 to 2007, we have been criticized that we have not adopted a different listing model, right, to allow companies from overseas, from mainland China to seek a listing in Hong Kong.
Right.
However, during the bear market in 2008 and early part of 2009, we did not have as many problems as other exchanges. As a result, the exchange in Hong Kong was the first one to rebound in terms of attracting IPO. That's why in the year 2009, we led the world in terms of IPO. At the same time, we have seen companies, many Chinese companies, they have been listed in other parts of the world, approaching Hong Kong for dual listing.
Right.
And I believe this is going to be a trend,
Right.
that Hong Kong will continue to see some of those Chinese companies to have lists in other exchanges.
Coming home.
Coming home. Not because of raising capital, I think largely because of this quality, because of the fact that we have a good liquidity.
Right.
And I have to say that why is it the exchange in Hong Kong has so much liquidity? I believe it goes back to one very successful ingredient of operating exchange, which is the quality of the market. I've been emphasizing this to my colleagues over the past many, many years. I think the most important thing that we have to do is to ensure that we have a quality market. With a quality market, you attract investors to channel their trade to your market, thereby increasing the liquidity and the depth of the market. Once your market has a big liquidity, and liquidity begets liquidity,
Right.
and it will attract potential issuers to seek a listing exchange in Hong Kong.
Right.
So it's actually a catch-22. So if you lower the quality of the market, then you will suffer in the long term.
Right. You're a highly liquid market, but you're also a very expensive market.
The cost of listing in Hong Kong, we don't have any control. The exchange fee is very, very low.
You've actually created an interesting model where, on a per transaction basis, the exchange itself makes the least amount of money from all the various
Yes.
parties involved. Do you sense that you've created a community, a network of due diligence capability as a result of, of having good lawyers, good accountants, and good very different good investment bankers and so on, and all of the players sort of contribute to that.
I would say that why is it that so many international accounting firms, lawyers, and investment banks are in Hong Kong? Because there's business. And why is business? Because the platform at Exchange of Hong Kong, the market repetition, the quality market, the liquidity, the risk management mechanism in Hong Kong attract potential issuer to seek a listing in Hong Kong.
Yes. How would you describe your conversations with the regulators, with the SFC, and the HKMA?
We have very little dealing with Hong Kong MA.
Right.
Most of the dealing is with the SFC.
Yeah. And with the government itself, because apart from property, stocks are the other big asset composition of an average Hong Kong resident in that sense. So when stock prices go up, property prices go up as well. Are you ever in that conversation in terms of what to do, not to chase the market?
We don't, right? We do not discuss about business potential in that way, right? We leave it entirely with the private sector,
Yes.
right? Our job is actually to ensure that we have a very efficient infrastructure, rules and regulations are transparent, products and services meet with the demand of the intermediary and the customers.
But are there pressures put on the Hong Kong exchange to maybe have a second exchange or a third exchange so that to diversify further and avoid creating this behemoth?
I mean, if you ask me, in my position as CEO, I've always said that I welcome a second exchange to operate in Hong Kong.
And?
Because if you operate a second exchange in Hong Kong, the restriction imposed on exchange should be reduced, right? Today, all the rules and regulations have to be approved by the SFC. All charges have to.
And they've nowhere to benchmark those charges.
No, the benchmark is actually, we do compare with the international stock exchanges.
Okay.
We compare with a group of around 10 international exchanges in the world. And most of the time we find out that the fee are on a comparable level. As a matter of fact, in some areas, it is much cheaper.